Hi, welcome back to Make Money Online, and like and subscribe, don't forget to turn on the notification button. So today we'll be looking at the price of XRP and the circumstances surrounding it. So Ripple is a decentralized crypto like no other, and thus it's not so surprising when unusual things happen in its administration. The coin has long been a unique type of crypto that, though decentralized, it functions to aid the activities of both centralized applications and decentralized applications as well. How? Well, the crypto is an integral part of a whole system that handles complex payment actions between financial institutions from one part of the world to the other. And this cross-border platform is a working platform by Ripple Labs, who deploy the cryptocurrency in handling those transactions in a faster and cheaper way. And this is an avenue that is not available like any other cross-border transaction facilitating platform, including SWIFT, the bank system, which is technically the one being put to use by most banks across the world, as well as e-finance platforms such as MoneyGram, etc. Now, the company set its sights on the opportunity afforded it by the daily execution of international monetary transactions of some of the world's biggest banks, and those include the central banks, the microfinance banks, as well as other payment platforms which are used for remittances. So, XRP price's greatest peak so far is up there at $3.83, which it attained early back in 2018. Now, it's not reached 50% of that price, with the price only hitting as high as $0.7 in the aftermath of the COVID-19 lockdown restrictions. And there, that also saw Bitcoin and a host of other altcoins rally. Now, XRP didn't join that rally until later in the year. It was still a pretty good time to see the crypto rise, and the price surged towards $0.55 in November before hitting as high as $0.7. Now, this was before the SEC bore down on the activities of XRP, as multiple forebodings and warnings were criticising the crypto and providing depressing information as to just how the coin could survive the fall. Now, its subsequent fall, when it did come, left many people nodding their heads saying, "Well, I told you so." Now, these comments were proven to be hearsay when the price soared just last week to $0.33. Now, this was unexpected, as there was majorly a rush of people dumping the crypto and exchanges delisting the coin as a result. Now, the worst possible thing that can happen to a crypto was deemed to be a total exclusion by the crypto exchanges. Now, you need to note this fact that the lawsuit single-handedly dealt damage to the crypto's price trend as it dipped. There was a pretty long wait to see which exchanges would then delist the crypto and which ones would choose to stick with it. Now, it wasn't long before two smaller exchanges dropped the buck on XRP price, while Coinbase made a declaration about how they would handle the crypto in a bid to stay on the safe side pending the result of the lawsuit. Now, they then later delisted it while leaving its holders the grace at least to sell off the holdings of the crypto. Now, Grayscale, a major investor in millions of XRP, also happened to drop the crypto, whilst a host of other exchanges then followed suit. Now, a unique position has now developed because of this for the crypto, as it's bound to become more difficult to buy. And this is a potential reason for the coin to rise. It's basic economics. And of course, in economics, scarcity is known to be the biggest factor that makes currency valuable. Now, while Bitcoin was pretty easier to mine, its price was never truly anything to write home about. The more difficult it became to gain Bitcoins, the higher, of course, its price, and it shows a high demand for crypto. Now, this could happen to XRP also, even whilst this lawsuit's ongoing. Crypto exchanges such as GateHub haven't resigned to fate yet, claiming the crypto still has a huge window of opportunity to rise above the current struggles. Now, the UK-based cryptocurrency gateway service has decided to continue listing XRP. Now, GateHub will not delist XRP unless a decision from the US Securities and Exchange Commission makes it necessary to do so. Now, it advises that GateHub Limited will continue listing XRP until the SEC's complaint against Ripple has reached a final decision, entering that XRP is properly classified as a security, or until we receive a cease and desist notice from the SEC. Now, GateHub said that the decision to keep XRP on its platform follows some careful review of the SEC's complaint against Ripple, which claimed that the firm sold XRP as unlicensed security. Now, GateHub expressed optimism about the future of XRP, claiming that the company is confident that XRP is not a security. So the exchange doesn't believe that XRP is a security under the prevailing Howey test, as it's called, in the US, and regard XRP primarily as a utility token whose value is based on its use in payments and foreign exchange. Now, nor have we personally witnessed any improper market conduct by Ripple Labs or its senior officers, and that's pretty significant. The firm went on to say that Ripple should be subject to appropriate enforcement actions if US authorities prove that Ripple and related executives have defrauded investors. But that is a far cry from an action brought by the SEC classifying XRP as a security, GateHub said, emphasising that this action potentially has catastrophic consequences for investors who themselves did nothing wrong. So, in the publication, the UK Treasury considers XRP an exchange token rather than a security, which further cements its position in other countries' crypto industries as against the measures being taken against it in the US. So currently, the crypto market is posing a recovery here at press time after the slump that we've had over the last 2 days. And that slump saw Bitcoin retreat from an all-time high of $41,962, wow, to near the 30,000 level mark. Now, Bitcoin has recovered just over 4% in the last 24 hours, leading to 36,280, and with a market dominance of 68.5%. Now, Ethereum, the world's second largest crypto, is up 4.29%, and that's at the just over $1,140 mark. Yet, the one stealing the show among the large cap cryptos is, you've guessed it, XRP, which is trading above the crucial 0.3 of a dollar mark. Now, XRP has added just over 10% in the last 24 hours and just over 31% over the last 7 days. And this surge comes as Ripple Labs Inc., the Silicon Valley company behind XRP, they announced that former Amazon Inc. Vice President, VP of Delivery Experience, Devraj Varadhan, has joined the payments network as a Senior VP of Engineering. Big news! So, just as the internet was the driving force behind many of today's leading companies, blockchain has the potential to fundamentally change our current financial system and bring billions of unbanked people into the financial ecosystem, and of course accelerate financial inclusion globally. And they're the comments passed by the former employee of Amazon following the decision to join Ripple. Interesting news. So, the recent XRP price rally is predominantly carried by the Asian exchanges, where Binance, and that's led by processing over 32.7% of the traded volume worth nearly $337 million. That's a third of $1 trillion. I beg your pardon, a third of $1 billion, followed by Hit BTC with 14.7% worth $145 million, and Huobi 11.5% worth $117 million. Now, the fourth largest crypto recorded over $1 billion in trading volume in the last 24 hours. Wow! Now, most of the US-based exchanges will halt XRP trading by January the 15th, however. Exchanges outside the US don't seem to be much bothered about the lawsuit and have extended support to Ripple and XRP. Now, many exchanges even saw XRP taking the top spot in terms of daily traded volume, above Bitcoin, which is currently selling at a premium on many exchanges. Now, South Korea is one of the key markets for Ripple, and so XRP is fairly popular owing to top remittance services such as Centbee, Handpass and Wirebali being RippleNet partners. This is the key reason behind high XRP trading volumes on the Korean exchanges, even at a time when many over in the US believe the XRP price would crash into oblivion. Now, the company said that all of the banks can use Ripple's XRP ledger, the XRPL, for issuing stablecoins. Now, as Ripple said, built for payments, XRPL can also be used to support the issuance of stablecoins with a unique fungible token functionality called issued currencies. Now, issued currencies is designed to be the ideal stablecoin platform, providing simple but rich management functionality for the issuer that makes it easy to create, issue, and of course manage any asset, including stablecoins. Now, recent predictions show the stabilising pattern of the XRP price in the charts, and here, as you can see in these charts. Now, the XRP USD is in a situation where it marginally shows some reversal signs from the heavy bearish downside volatility. Now, in this case, XRP USD has developed some interesting formations that can determine the next movements in the structure when the right price actions show up here. Therefore, it's from high importance that XRP USD confirms to it, and when this happens, with the XRP USD completing this potential bull flag, it will indicate the testing of remaining resistances higher in the structure, firstly determined within the 0.33 when XRP USD reaches out these levels. And at that point, it has to be elevated, how it moves on further from there, and if there can be an immediate continuation. Or, firstly, a reversal visiting lower levels, which is not unlikely here. So, this chart reflects the short-term optimism surrounding the XRP price, as it's expected to break the resistance at its current price levels and surge high towards the 0.341 to the 0.355 range. Now, investors who brought the coin at its previous low range of 0.22 to 0.24 have benefited from its current consolidation here at the 0.3 mark. Now, it's advisable to hold out on the coin for future breaks on a potential surging run towards much higher levels, as indicated here on this chart. And this is quite realistic. So, this chart shows the potential for XRP to hit the resistance level at the 0.4 to 0.5. And in the coming days, assuming Bitcoin pumps, now analysts still expect to see a pullback in XRP at some point in the coming week, say to 10 days, due to a major pullback over there at Bitcoin. But it might just be speculative. Now, a wild ride is ahead of us, and potential for a swing trade potential if XRP does hit the high trend line and Bitcoin looks to have topped out by the 16th or the 17th. So there you have it. Do stay tuned for our next video. Look forward to seeing you next time.